man, hush up. Hello? 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 Good morning.
Two, one, two, two.
Sounds like there's a sound. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Dumelang. Goeiemorgen. Can I just get an indication how far the registration process is? It's 5 minutes before 10 and the Bule lang ako. Sorry. Thank you. Babang putri man. Bishop. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bus stop now. Thank you. Ay. Mariano, apa? Why ba sa? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, SAPS Brass Band. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start with the official program. We are about to start. The dignitaries are on their way to the main hall. So please, let us be on our feet to welcome the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, the Premier, and the MECs. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, whilst on our feet, I will invite the SAPS Brass Band to render the national anthem. Thank you. We may be seated. Now, for those that might not be familiar with this face, my name is Fufe Makatong, the Executive Authority responsible for the Department of Roads and Public Works in the Northern Cape. I will be directing the program for this prestigious occasion today. Now, today is the 1st of April, Premier, but this is no April Fool, not at all. The occasion of the official opening of the Special Investigating Unit, the Northern Cape office. So I think just to also just keep all of us abreast, the day started with the first part, where the office is situated in the Southern Life building along the Dutoit Span Road, where the minister and the premier had an opportunity to unveil the plaque to enable the head of unit and his team to be able to start to get the office to operate today. Now, all of us should be able to remember that the Premier, during the SOPA address, he said to the people of the Northern Cape and the South Africans at large that on the 1st of April, we will be welcoming the head of unit and his team to the province, where the SIU will be starting to operate. And it's just happening as you pronounced, Premier. I got an SMS 10 minutes or so ago that said to me, you know, we did not believe. We thought it was just one of those statements where these addresses are given and people, I think, are beginning to appreciate the seriousness and the commitment of the 6th administration led by you, Premier, that you are a man of your word. And it calls upon all of us under your leadership as MECs, as leadership in the different departments and other stakeholders to just follow suit. So the program is not a very long one. We should be done by the lunch hour. We should be done by lunch. I'm going to welcome to call on and stage the mayor, executive mayor of Salt Lake local municipality, Councillor Patrick Mabilu, to do the welcoming. Comrade Ghosty.
Thank you very much, Program Director. The Honorable Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, Honorable Ronald Lamola, the Honorable Premier of the Province, Dr. Zamani Sol, members of the Executive Council of the Northern Cape who are present here, the head of the SIU, Advocate Andy Mutibi, the provincial head of the Northern Cape unit of the SIU, the acting provincial commissioner of SAPS, all senior members of SAPS present here, all other officials of the SIU, all the guests present here. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Program Director, it's quite an honor and privilege for myself as a Salt Lake first citizen to be afforded this opportunity to extend a cordial word of welcome to all those present here. We are excited about this development, and there's no doubt in my mind that we've got to unite against corruption. We've got to work together to defeat crime. Honorable Premier, the year 2021 is the year in which we celebrate the legacy and memory of Mayor Charlotte Maxeke. And as such, I'd just like to bring briefly a connection with the city, a connection with Kimberley. Mayor Charlotte Maxeke was a chorister, and her first solo performance took place in Kimberley in the year 1895 at the City Hall. But Mayor Maxeke has spent considerable time in the city and is known as the first female African to hold a graduate degree and is still regarded as a pathfinder, a pioneer. She has left an indelible mark in our society as a visionary, an activist for freedom, for peace, for justice. She was far ahead of our time. It is strategic and proper that we celebrate her legacy. Program Director, malpractices relating to state institutions, plundering of state assets, public money remains a serious challenge in society. The motto of the SIU is poised to strike. It is quite a powerful motto, and it has the responsibility to ensure investigation of crime takes place without fear or favor. Society is sick and tired of crime, bribery. Our economy is struggling. Poverty, unemployment, inequality remains a serious challenge. It is our duty and responsibility to ensure we work together to root out corruption in the public service. Corruption indeed is a problem. I finally agree that maladministration lays a foundation for corruption to thrive. Institutions like the SIU must enable government to effect strong consequences where there is maladministration and corruption, with no fear, no favor. In conclusion, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, with those few words, allow me to welcome you all to the official opening of the SIU Northern Cape Kimberley offices. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. I have to make the following acknowledgements, Premier. So everyone at least knows who we have amongst us here. The Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, who will be introduced by the Premier. The Premier of the Northern Cape Province, Dr. Sol. We've got amongst us the head of the SIU, Advocate Mutibi. And in our midst, again, we've got the head of the State Security Agency, Mr. Vessels. We also have got amongst us the Acting Provincial Police Commissioner, Major General Deval. I also told that we've got amongst us the representative from the Auditor General South Africa, the Provincial Office. We have got MECs of the 6th Administration of the Northern Cape. We've got the executive mayors from all 5 district municipalities amongst us. The Speaker of the Northern Cape Legislature is also amongst us. The Chief Whip of the majority party in the legislature, the African National Congress, is amongst us. HODs of the different departments, officials of government, and pardon me if I did not acknowledge anyone else. I will get an indication teaching as we go along. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call upon the head of the SIU, Northern Cape Office, Advocate Mutibi, to give the Northern Cape Office, the regional office. That's how you call it. Advocate Mutibi will assist us in that regard. All I know is that we've got an office in the province that has to look after the Northern Cape and the Northern Cape only for now. Thank you. The head of the regional office. Thank you, Premier Advocate.
No, thank you, Madam Program Director. Honorable Minister, Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, Honorable Lamola, Honorable Premier, Dr. Saul, Honorable and Councillor Mayor, Councillor Mabilu, MECs present, the heads of the departments, DDGs, and the DG of the province, I'm informed, provincial head of the Hawks, DPCI, that is, the provincial head public protector, provincial head of NPA, provincial head of SSA. I'm also informed that the director of the domestic branch, Advocate Muofe, is also in attendance of the SSA National. The acting provincial head, South African Police Service, officials from government, Northern Cape government, the special investigating unit colleagues, and of course members of the SAPS that are here, police brand. We are really thankful that today we get an opportunity to come and engage with the public of the Northern Cape. Mine, according to the program, you would have noticed, is to really give an overview of the Special Investigating Unit. The SIU was established in terms of the Special Investigating Units and Special Tribunals Act of 1996, Act number 74. That act authorizes the SIU to investigate serious malpractices, maladministration, corruption in connection with the state institutions, state assets and public money, as well as any conduct that may seriously harm the interest of the public. And once that investigation is done, the Act further authorizes SIU, where there's irregularities and there's a need to recover, to also institute and conduct civil proceedings in any court of law or a special tribunal in its own name or on behalf of the state institutions to recover those monies and assets lost. To date, SIU had opened offices in all provinces with exception of the Northern Cape province, and that changes from today. We thank you, Honorable Minister, we thank you, Honorable Premier, and the officials of the Northern Cape government, the MECs, and our colleagues from SIU for having worked together to ensure that we reach this milestone of establishing the SIU office today. Our vision as SIU is to be the state's preferred and trusted anti-corruption, forensic investigation and litigation agency. Honorable Minister and Honorable Premier, we've used the word preferred deliberately because we know that we've got to compete for this space with private sector companies. We have observed that more often state institutions, of course, use the private companies, But we would like, as we now achieve this vision of being the state's preferred, so that top of mind of accounting authorities and accounting officers in government, particularly where we are here now today in the Northern Cape government, when they need to institute forensic investigation, top of mind should be the Special Investigating Unit. But Honorable Minister, Honorable Premier, we know that that doesn't just come easy. We have got to make sure that the building blocks are in place. We've got to execute our mandate in a manner that satisfies you as the shareholder representatives of the public, and in a manner that satisfies the public. And I will shortly indicate how we do that. Our values are integrity, which is at the center of everything we do, cooperation, teamwork, professionalism, efficiency, independence, drive, and passion. I will just indicate just briefly in terms of our methodology that we follow on how we do our work. The public and all those who report matters of allegations of maladministration, malpractice, and corruption are reported to the Special Investigating Unit office. In this Northern Cape, we've got an office now, and we will leave you with the line that you can contact. You can walk to our office and report. Now, once we've reported, the team is already on the ground, Honorable Premier and Honorable Minister. The allegations will be processed according to the SIU methodology. SIU, in terms of the law, can only kick off formal investigation once the proclamation is signed off, and that proclamation is sent through the office of the minister, and then it's sent to the president for sign-off. Once it's signed, then we kick off the investigation, and we come out with specific outcomes, which I will mention now, and then ultimately we issue the report. The report goes to the president. But I think I need to underline this. It's very important to know that we do not wait until we produce the final report to the president before the actions are taken based on evidence that has been gathered by the investigators. Now, what are those outcomes that we seek to achieve as we investigate? Once the investigators gather evidence that points, for example, if it's a procurement irregularity, if an evidence points to the process of procurement being irregular, and thereby indicating that the specific contract is irregular, by law we are expected to then institute civil proceedings to set aside the contract and recover the money. And that we are currently doing across all the investigations that we are doing. Just to give you an example, we institute those civil proceedings in the high courts, but since the minister and the president signed off on the special tribunal, this tribunal was established in October of 2019. It started functioning. And to date, since it started functioning from October of 2019, we have already enrolled 55 cases where we institute to set aside the contracts and ultimately ask the special tribunal to order the recovery of the monies. And those 55 cases, only at the special tribunal, the contract values of those matters are 6.9 billion. So when we institute these proceedings, we then, the legal teams would present, and ultimately the court or the special tribunal will order the appropriate recoveries based on the evidence presented. Those are only the matters in the special tribunal. In the high courts, because since the inception of SIU, the matters have been presented to the high courts, and there has been quite a delay, and hence the Honorable Minister and the President proclaimed the establishment of the special tribunal. So since the special tribunal, now we take those matters to the tribunal, and we have seen that it speeds up this process. So now, just the matters that are in the high courts. We've got about 51 cases in the high courts to the contract value of 64.4 billion. So all of these contracts would have been pointed by evidence that they are irregular. So I'm just really giving you an example of the civil litigation part. So just quickly now, the other outcomes are when we find that in that process of irregularity, there would have been officials that have participated in that irregularity. And the evidence would point to who in a specific department was involved in that irregular process. And we then take the evidence, we send it over to the accounting officer or accounting authority so that disciplinary action can be taken. The other outcomes is that where there's evidence pointing more often that there's criminality that's been committed in the process, and the evidence again gathered would point to who is now guilty of acts of criminality, and by law we are expected to take that evidence to the NPA so that the NPA can consider and ultimately make a decision to prosecute. We also refer other regulatory infractions to regulatory authorities. We find a lot of tax irregularities or offenses, and then we refer those to SARS and other regulatory authorities. So these are in brief how the SIU functions and the outcomes that we seek to reach. But as we do this, in our quest to be a preferred state entity, there are skills that we employ. We employ skills such as forensic data analytics, forensic accounting, forensic investigators, civil litigators, and also cyber forensics. These skills are the skills that pit us, and we compare effectively to the private sector companies, and in most instances, we actually do even better than the private sector companies. Our observation, Honorable Minister and Honorable Premier, is that more often, when the private sector companies are appointed, they would come in and they would investigate, but we have seen that more often those reports are not conclusive. You would find in 99.9% of those reports, they would say refer to law enforcement agencies. So those reports are often referred to law enforcement agencies, including SIU, and we then have to start and investigate. So, Honorable Minister and Honorable Premier, the SIU team possessing the above skills that I've mentioned are already appointed for the Northern Cape office, and they are already in the ground. They've actually hit the ground running. We have already, Honorable Premier and Honorable Minister, already received allegations by this team. Honorable Premier, since the announcement was made in the State of the Province address that you gave, we have, since you announced that SIU offices will be opened, we've received offices. In fact, our head of communications also receives a whole lot of communications and SMSs and so on to say we need to report certain allegations. I needed to just indicate that, Honorable Premier and Honorable Minister, we would also, as we do the investigations and reach outcomes and so on, we also need to assist and add value to the state institutions. How do we do that? We add it such that as we investigate, we come across certain inefficiencies that we could pick up and advise the state institutions on how to improve the risk management and how to improve their planning so that all of these irregularities can be prevented. So we play as SIU a role in the corruption prevention. So in that regard, we lead a program in the anti-corruption task team. That program deals with the risk-based approach in identifying corruption vulnerable sectors. In this regard, we will interact with the Northern Cape Provincial Office to roll out some of the activities of the Corruption Vulnerable Sector Program to implement measures to raise awareness, to anti-corruption measures to prevent, detect maladministration, malpractices, and corruption. In the next financial year, we will be focusing on the implementation of data analytics, predictive modeling, which will then assist us to predict the trends and then communicate those to the state institutions, state departments, so that they can be assisted in the improvement of the control environment to prevent the recurrence of these instances. In conclusion, Honorable Minister and Honorable MEC, we do this in collaboration. In many instances, we collaborate with other law enforcement agencies. The fight against corruption has been identified in terms of the National Anti-Corruption Strategy, and even before then, because the National Anti-Corruption Strategy that was adopted by Cabinet in 2020 really consolidates what government has been really doing. The fight against corruption has been identified as a societal issue. It's everyone's responsibility to participate and contribute to the fight against corruption. So we do collaborate as government and law enforcement agencies. We collaborate with the State Security Agency, DPCI, which is called the Hawks, Public Protector, National Prosecuting Authority, FIC, NICOC, SARS, and other agencies. We've got a forum that we call Anti-Corruption Task Team. That forum helps us to manage the overlaps. It helps us to manage the dependencies so that we effectively bring out the results that are expected in the fight against corruption. There's a sub-forum of Anti-Corruption Task Team called the Fusion Center. That Fusion Center, you can just read in the name, it fuses all these law enforcement agencies so that they work together and work together well. And we have seen it. We've seen it. It really came into operation, particularly during the COVID-19 investigations. And Honorable Minister and Honorable Premier, we've seen the value of the Fusion Center. So we must really just continue to work hard and make sure that this collaboration is clear and clear to everyone. I would like to conclude and say all the reports of corruption, maladministration, and malpractices could be reported on the following hotline: 0800 037 774, or at the email info@siu.org.za. I'd like to end here. Honorable Premier, Honorable Minister, and Program Director, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Advocate. There we go. Thank you very much. Let's get some relaxation from the band whilst preparing to call upon the Premier. Oh, 0800 037 774, the hotline. While SAPS was presenting them, preparing, I was saying 0800 037 774. We got it. Thank you. Help me welcome the Premier to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director. And Vars General De Waal. Ek sien die polisie is dans gevaarlik, joh. Gee, hulle gooi dit nat. En ek het gedink ek moet hulle na my pap uitnooi. Thank you very much, Program Director, the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, Minister Ronald Ozil Amola, the MECs which are here. I see almost the entire cabinet is here. And the mayors, there are mayors who are here to pledge solidarity with the mayor of Solplaki and the executive mayors and state institutions which are here and representative of those state institutions in your eminence. And let me take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this very significant event that is taking place today. Let me also extend my special welcome to the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, Minister Lamola, to the Northern Cape. I think this should be your first visit after your appointment as the minister. It's your first visit. It's not your inaugural visit as a minister. Okay, it seems to me you are not sure. Oh, that's his second visit. That's his second visit. And I think my task for today's program is quite simple. Is to extend a word of gratitude to Advocate Andy Motibi and your team for the manner in which you've so diligently and meticulously executed this task. When we spoke last year, the advocate said to me, the minister says Northern Cape must have an office. In the country, we are the only province which did not have SIU offices. So he said, the minister said we must have this office in the Northern Cape. And when we spoke, it was towards the end of the year. And he said we are going to start operating on the 1st of April. Premier put up a team that will work with our team from National. That sounded very much impossible. It sounded far-fetched, and here we are today to mark the opening of the SIU provincial offices in the Northern Cape. One of the very prominent things that Advocate Motibi said to me is that the Northern Cape should stop being an outpost of the Special Investigative Unit, because normally it would be investigators from the Free State and the Northern Cape, Northwest, and as well as the Eastern Cape that would come to the province. He said we must stop treating Northern Cape as an outpost. We must have our offices there. I think we need to give the team, the minister, together with Advocate Motibi, a nice round of applause. And it made me think about a whole lot of issues. The minister, Minister Lamola, is the youngest serving minister in the national government today. I want to expose your years, but I'm scared. I don't know, you might get extremely exasperated by that, but he's only 37 years old and is serving as a minister. He's the youngest. So as the country, we must derive some dividends from his youthful energy. You can't just brag about being the youngest minister and you don't derive benefits of his youthful energy. And this is one of the benefits that we are deriving from the youthful energy and dynamism that he has as a minister, because they say younger generation is more impatient. They want to see progress, they want to see change, they want to see things happening. So these are the benefits, and we are harvesting from the youthful energy. He's got a history in student activism. He's got a history in youth activism, and I'm certain we all know that he was the deputy president of the Youth League, deputizing Julius Malema. He's got a history in youth activism. And about 4 years back, we had a discussion with him after he finished his first master's degree. So I said to him, go and register for your doctorate. No, I'm scared for this thing. People say it's tough. Gary, no, go and register for your doctorate. So after that discussion, very intense discussion, I got an email from him. It's a research proposal for a second master's degree, which he managed to finish. And I'm certain you all know that he's a lawyer. So if you look at him, he represents a certain generation of leaders, which the current South Africa needs. There's a certain generation of leaders which the current South Africa needs in order for us to head-on confront the challenges which are confronting this country. And the main struggle of this current generation of leaders that South Africa needs is the struggle against corruption. And its eroding and corrosive impact on our development trajectory. That is the main struggle today. So the generation before you, I see Brasem is here. That generation of Comrade Sam, their responsibility was to fight for freedom. And the primary enemy of freedom was apartheid as a system. The primary aim, the primary enemy of freedom was not whites. It was the system of racial oppression and exclusion, apartheid. That was the primary enemy of the struggle for freedom. And they fought that struggle successfully, and in 1994, universal franchise, each and every one of us could go and vote for a government of your own choice and all of that. Now, post-1994, we've got a program to improve the quality of lives of all South Africans. What we call is a program for better life for all. And now we came to realize that the primary enemy of the struggle is corruption. That's the primary enemy of the struggle. Because corruption is counter-revolutionary, it's corrosive, it regresses development, and it can reverse some of the major gains that we have made over the past 26 years. So we need youthful energy, not just youthful energy, but smart youthful energy to confront this primary enemy of development. So with those words, I'm welcoming you, Minister, to the province. And it made me think about an interview of Deng Xiaoping in 1986. He was interviewed by one very seasoned journalist. It's Mike Wallace. I'm certain all of us will know Deng Xiaoping, who started to put China on a new development trajectory when he became the president in 1978. So he had this interview in 1986, where he was accused of purging leaders of the Communist Party, people who disagrees with him and all of that. Then he has this explanation. He said he is not purging anybody, but he's fighting a new form of adventurism within the ranks of the party and within the ranks of the state. He said right here within the party and in the state, there are some of our members who are occupying critical and strategic positions and who think that they can do wrong things with impunity. They think that they can do wrong things with impunity. There should be no consequences that follows wrong things which they are doing. And he says when they are caught red-handed, the first thing which they do is to try to delegitimize and discredit state apparatus whose aim is to fight corruption, whose aim is to fight crime. So it's the first thing which they do, because they've got this perception that we can run havoc with impunity. But as soon as they get trapped and get exposed, their first goal in self-defense is to discredit and delegitimize state institutions. And if they fail in doing that, they want to mobilize the party machinery against the state. And he calls this a new form of adventurism. Comrades who embarks in reckless behavior of plundering the state with the hope that they won't be caught. And when they are caught, first thing is to attack the state. If they can't do that, is to mobilize the party machinery against the state. So what he says there is very profound. Then he says, we must wage the struggle against corruption to a point of no retreat. That's what he said. We'll wage the struggle against corruption to a point of no retreat, because corruption holds development back. So the benefits of having this office in our province are very significant. Number one, our capacity to fight against corruption will be strengthened, significantly strengthened. And number two, just by having this office in the province will assist us a lot in ensuring that we grow the gross domestic product of this province. I'm certain some of you would know that household consumption contributes about 67% of the GDP here. And one of the biggest contributor to the GDP of the province is government expenditure. Currently it's standing at 21%. So what government spends in the Northern Cape, it's at the heart of the economy of the Northern Cape. So with this added expenditure, putting up an office, creating some job opportunities, and the expenditure by SIU will actually contribute significantly to the GDP of the province. So with those few words, let me welcome the Minister, Lamola, to come and address us. Can we rise whilst he's approaching the podium? And thank you very much, Minister, and your team. We are deeply impressed as the Northern Cape province. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much to the Premier of the Northern Cape for such a very warm welcome and introduction, Dr. Zaman Sol, the members of the Executive Council in the Northern Cape. I've seen, as he said, almost all the MECs are here. It shows the seriousness with which you view this office. The Executive Mayor of Sol Plaatje Local Municipality, Councillor Patrick Mabilo, and all mayors who are present here, the Speaker of the Northern Cape Legislature, the Chief Whip of the ruling party in the Northern Cape Provincial Legislature, the Head of the Special Investigating Unit, Advocate Mtibi, and the entire senior management from the head office and the regional leadership here, and all officials from the SIU. The officials also of the provincial government of the Northern Cape, the provincial commissioner of the SAPS, in the Northern Cape, and all state-owned state agencies and entities that are here. I've heard that Advocate Mufe is also here.